So I'm live. There I am, the watch guy with a face for radio, Mr. Zelos, as it were. Uh, Coming to you live from my humble home down here in sunny Florida. Sunny, but a little cold today. Let's see. Oh, geez. Look at all the people popping in. I've never had it so good in a live stream before. Let's see, I got my buddy Rob. Hi, Rob. 2788 Flyers. How you doing? Bobby Legs is in here. Brad's in here. Brad has one of my old Zelos watches. I hope he's wearing it today, or at least he still likes it. Grimwood Watch Modding. How's it going, sir? I've been enjoying your videos lately. I've really enjoyed them. And your accent's not too heavy, so that's good. But you're making some good videos. I appreciate it. Jerry's here. Who's that? K9. I was thinking Cardi there for a minute. K9, how you doing? Bartholomew's here. Yeah, good morning in that. That's one of my Uncle Lou guys is in here. John's here. How y'all doing today? I really didn't have any particular subject to talk about. I'm sorry, my neck is very stiff today. I did have one thing that I wanted to bring up. I've mentioned this on a couple of posts in private messaging and one or two places on Facebook. Yesterday, I found out. Oh, look! It's my first ever, literally my first ever super chat from Solid Snake. Thanks, afternoon. Thanks for helping me stay sane at the end of the workday. Hey, my pleasure, man. Thank you for the super chat. That's the first one I've ever gotten, although, of course, my channel just recently monetized, so I've never had the opportunity to get a super chat before. Let me go into this real quick. Yesterday, I found out that an author that I had been reading his books since I was literally 13 years old. So that's well over 40 years, as you can tell from the gray hair. Passed away yesterday. Actually, I found out yesterday. He actually passed away on, we'll get a calendar. He passed away on Monday. His wife announced it. The man's name was Clive Cussler, Cussler. He had written, oh, God, it's got to be near 36 books. It's adventure, international intrigue, thriller kind of books. Sort of like Tom Clancy, but not so technical. Some of his books you may have heard of, Raise the Titanic. He did the book Sahara that the movie that with Matthew McConaughey was starred in. The movie was based on that book. Many other books. The watch tie-in is this watch here that I'm wearing, that I'll take off right now, is his lead character in his first series of books, and he has 5, but the first series was based on a lead character named Dirk Pitt. And Dirk Pitt was a salvage diver, Renaissance man, ladies' man, car collector. You can see the obvious appeal with my car nuttiness. But in his books, and mentioned at least once in every book, was the fact that he wore one of these, an orange Doxa dive watch. Now, his was from the 70s, I believe it was, so this is not exactly that watch. But his character was famous for wearing an orange Doxa. And when I started reading the books at age 13, 14 or so. The first book I read was Raise the Titanic. Great book. If you like anything along the lines of international intrigue and thrills, fantastic book to read. When I learned about, and this is pre-internet day, so it took me a while to find out what a doxa was, one of these. And for a long time after that, I knew that I wanted to own one of these watches. And come 2006, after my divorce, and after my ability to buy a watch of that level was realized, this was the first serious watch that I ever bought, the first collectible watch. I didn't start collecting at that time, but it was the first watch that could be considered a collectible. So I have a very personal connection myself with respect to Cussler. He provided me with decades of great reading and great thrills and entertainment, and he helped get me started in a way into watch collecting. So today I've been wearing, for most of the day, I had a Zelos on earlier, but for most of the day today I've been wearing this orange doxa 750T, sub 750T, which was actually one of the watches that were released in a limited edition by doxa to celebrate the release of the movie Sahara. So this is a Dirk Pitt edition, number 4037 out of 5000. So that's the only real agenda item I really had for this video. Blue Shirt Buddha, thanks for coming in, man. So I open it up to the floor. Who's got a comment? Who's got something to say? Who's got a wise ass crack for me to respond to? Hit me. Who's got a question? Who's got a suggestion? Hey, glad to have you, Blue Shirt. Glad you're here. Thanks for helping grow my channel. I appreciate it. Rob says he misses having the 1200 doxas. I actually had a lot of doxas at one time. If you go back through some of my state of the collection videos and just standalone videos, you'll see that I had as many as I think 6 or 7 of these color doxas, the colorways. I've had a Diving Star, which is the yellow one, a Shark Hunter, which is the black one, a Sea Rambler, which is the silver one, and the Project Aware, which is the teal one. Those have all been sold off. I now am only down to my Professional, which is the orange one, and the Caribbean, which is the blue face. Those two I'm not selling. I don't anticipate ever selling those. Let's see. Grimwood says, really need to get my hand. Yeah, you do. They're a great watch. Doxa has been releasing some new ones. They have one now at a pretty reasonable price. I think it's $9.99 for the sub 200. I mean, let's face it, folks. Beyond 200-meter water resistance, what's the point? 99% of us are going to be doing, wearing them, take a shower with them, maybe get caught in a rainstorm. Not many of us are going to do saturation diving. So, the high number water resistance is nice, but you'll never use it. So get a sub 200 for just under $1,000, and you'd be happy with it. That's my opinion, Grimwood. So hope that helps you out. Brad, what are you saying? Interested in knowing how effectively navigate and use Watch You Seek? How do I use Watch You Seek? Well, the best thing to do with Watch You Seek, and I have used it on occasion to buy a few watches and sell some watches. With respect to selling watches, every time I put a sale up, I get 1 or 2 people that come in with some kind of fraudster-like post saying, "Oh, if you contact my friend at this mail address, he'd be happy to buy the watch if you, and can he send you the money via Western Union if you mail the watch first and provide a tracking number." Yeah, okay, yeah. Dumb, not stupid, okay? Not the smartest guy in the world, but I'm not stupid. Sometimes I posted up things like I seek to acquire, the ISOs. I'm looking for something. I get the same email scam. Is it? Oh, my friend has one at this email address. Contact him and send the money via Western Union. If somebody's not willing to work with either a wire transfer or PayPal, that's a red flag, and I delete those messages immediately. As far as buying goes, there is a reputation forum. If you scroll all the way down through the forum listings, at the very bottom, there's a feedback and reputation subforum, and you can look through there for that particular seller, see if he's got a record. Also, click on his ID. It'll bring up a profile of that seller. And one key thing I've known to look for there is see how long that profile has been around. I mean, if the profile's only been around maybe a day or a week, maybe not. Maybe not. Also, contact the moderators for that forum, see what they think. Other than that, it's going to have to be the kind of, what is that, caveat emptor, or however you pronounce it, buyer beware. I hope that helps you out, Brad. Let's see. Bobby Legs, not watch related, but Daniel Silva. I've heard of Daniel Silva. I've never read one of his books. Maybe I'll take a look. Good suggestion. Thank you, Bobby. And definitely, if you can find a doxa that you can afford, I'd snap it up. Unless it's so chewed up that it's too ugly to bear, I'd grab it. Oh, thank you, Loom. How you doing, man? I appreciate you stopping by. Love your work. Yeah, I know a lot of the guys on Rob's page love your work too. So let's see. Billy Bob's at work. I sent you a PM, Billy Bob, about the tour watch. Take a look at that when you can. Hopefully, Neil will be around and he'll get it. Let's see, what you got, Jerry? Your thoughts on the coronavirus and how it affects the watch world. You know, I was actually talking to Elshin, not talking to him, but PMing with him about a few things that are upcoming, and I had a question or two about something specific which I can't talk about right now. And I actually was talking to him about, where his factory is, a factory he works with in China, and how this was affecting him, and was it affecting him personally with respect to his health or, health scares in Singapore. And he says he's fine, and he says the factory that he works with is well outside the hot zone in China, so he is of the belief that this will not affect his business too much. But I can see that Corona is going to affect supply chain issues in China. I mean, we're coming out of flu season fairly soon now here in the States, and I'm sure in other places, as we get into spring and summer and it becomes less likely for flu to be transmitted. I'm sure this is still going to affect supply chain. I mean, Apple is already feeling the effect with respect to building their product. Some of the high-end stuff like Rolex and Audemars and AP, Audemars, AP is the same thing, you moron. Patek or Patek or however you pronounce it. All the high-end guys that rely on the rich Chinese commies. It's not supposed to be rich people in a communist society. That's just a side note. Go read a book. I suspect that if that they're saying that that market is in big trouble because not because the economy is affected in China. It's going to affect the sale of high-end watches in the Far East. I'm kind of hoping that if the Far East gets squeezed, that the high-end guys will take a look at the European market and the North American market and say, you know, maybe we can make up our loss of market share in the Far East by throwing that supply at Europe and America and the Americas, and maybe lower the price a little bit. So, you know, maybe they'll sell some watches, and maybe we'll see a temporary end to this artificial shortage crap that we're dealing with. Which, as a side note, if I wanted to buy a Rolex day date, I could find them all day long at every mom and pop gasoline shop in my area, but I can't find a Daytona or a Submariner to save my life. Come on, guys, that's crap. Build watches, sell watches. The demand is there if you just supply it. But that's just my rant. Let's see. Grimwood is telling me about a movie and doc on saturation diving, Last Breath. I'll go try and find that out. Rob, you're right. Buying and selling watches can be a big headache, but you know what? You, my friend, have helped me out many times on selling watches because, quite frankly, you've been a great alternative to eBay and getting raped. I know, maybe I shouldn't use that term. I'll get demonetized. Getting really, really screwed on fees, not only the eBay fees, but the PayPal fees as well. And Rob, you've been a great help to me trying to move watches. And I don't know how I will ever show my appreciation for what you've helped me do. You've also helped me grow this channel. So I appreciate you, sir. And you've made certainly selling watches a hell of a lot less of a headache. And when I bought a couple watches from you, it was the easiest transaction I've ever had. So you guys all in the chat, if you're not already on Random Rob's channel, hover right next to his ID in the chat, right there. I'm pointing over where it is. Click the three buttons and click the menu item that says go to page and sub his channel, because you will not regret being on that channel. It's like daily watch videos, all kinds of interesting watches, mod advice, and if you join the Patreon, you'll get some extra stuff too. And the Sunday Fun Day videos are worth the price of admission. Trust me. Stephen, I'm fine. How are you, sir? And Craig, nice to see you in here. And Canine Cardio is telling me about Joe Ledger series by Jonathan Manberry. I'll take a look. I'll look him up. Let's see. Loomroom. You're going to have a Zelos bid. What kind of Zelos do you have, sir? I'd be very interested. Grimwood. Mod suppliers are taking a bit longer. Yeah, I don't doubt it. Everything that's coming out of China is going to take it takes a long time anyway, but now with all the factories, even now just beginning to wind up, it's going to take forever. Let's see. Bobby Legs and Brad agree with me about Random Rob. Let's see. So does Blue Shirt, and so does Craig. And Uncle Lou's here. Good morning, sir. Good morning. Good morning. Now, all of my friends here, if you have any interest in college football, there's a channel, the Uncle Lou channel. Now, Uncle Lou is a funny guy. First of all, he's a funny guy. His video content is through the roof. He does daily videos, even in the off season. He's got live chats, live streams going every day of the week. He is a Georgia homer, and it may sound strange for you guys to hear a Florida Gator. I've been a Florida Gator fan longer than he's been alive. That's sad to say. Sad to say I've been a fan longer. He's been a lot. Not that I'm a Gator fan for that long. But even though he is a Georgia homer, I mean, one of the biggest homers ever, his videos are well researched. He when he's not trash talking, you will find his videos to be a fantastic source of college football information. If you're a college football fan and you're not on that channel, what's wrong with you? Get on Uncle Lou's channel, sub him up, support him. You will not be sorry, and you will send me a thank you note later. I guarantee it. Clem, I'm more than happy to do a live stream. I think I'm going to try and do more of them. I kind of enjoy just talking. I'm a great talker. Uncle Lou could probably tell you that. Shiano at Rutgers could be interesting, I guess. I don't know. Is that interesting? I don't think Rutgers football is particularly interesting. Tell me why I'm wrong, Lou. Let's see. Stevens digging his great white bronze diver. Yeah, the great whites were. I think great white was an underrated Zelos line. I had two. I currently still have the black with the turquoise chaptering. I had the blue with the blue bezel. I sold that to Brad. He's happy. I think he's enjoying it. Let's see. Dirk isn't on this afternoon. You sure want to know how knife. I'm not collecting knives, Brad. No, I've got three really bad collecting. Well, yeah, four really. Although one's a little dormant. The watches, the car hobby. I collect die-cast Kyle Busch cars. Yeah, go ahead and hate if you want to about Kyle Busch. I don't care. And I collect a lot of Gator-related sports memorabilia, although not a lot lately. So I don't need another hobby. I really don't. Between those hobbies and two girls in college and trying to upgrade things on a 32-year-old townhouse, I don't need any more expenses, thanks. No, I really don't. Somebody in my chat is a Rutgers fan. Who's a Rutgers fan? Let me scan this real quick here. Bobby is a Rutgers fan. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So, Bobby, what do you think about Shiano to Rutgers? I mean, Lou brought it up. I know nothing about it, so if you've got an opinion on it, let me know. Let's see. Craig has a Mako version 3. I knew that, Craig. I know you like that watch. I've only met one guy who bought a Zelos watch and didn't like it. And you know who that was? I forgot his name, but you know who it was? This will interest you, Brad. The guy who didn't like his Zelo watch was the guy who sold me the Zelos that he didn't buy. I didn't like. The blue great white that you own now. So you have the distinction of owning a Zelos that somebody didn't like. Go figure. Hell, I don't know. Different strokes for different folks. And it's how you like. Yeah, one of my new subs. How you doing, man? Good morning in that. How you like? He just subbed up my channel recently. Brad wants to know, can anyone get in on the Zelos Facebook group? Yeah, Zelos Timekeepers. All you got to do is, click the join button, and then somebody will approve it. Believe it or not, I'm not a moderator or an admin on that group. They never asked me, and I haven't pushed the issue. I mean, they got some guys there that are running the group pretty well. They don't need me. They just need me for content. They don't need me to help run the place. I know you'll love it, Brad. I mean, it's a great watch. I don't have any seller's remorse. I'm glad that it went to somebody who really liked it. Let's see. John, you do need to get your own Zelos. Did you get the Tor watch yet? I don't remember if the the touring hammerhead is has gone your way or is heading your way. You let me know. I'll have a video up on that in a couple of days. It's almost done. Oh, you did get the tour watch? Okay, well then, well, you know. I mean, if you played with a Zelos, you know. You know, so let's see. Been on for about 25 minutes. I wish I had the ability to patch people in like Uncle Lou does to, get somebody on the phone or something. That would be kind of fun. But Fossil or Citizen? Oh, you were third to get the Hammerhead. Okay, I don't have the list in front of me, so I don't know. I have a couple of Sky Raiders myself, Bobby. I really like them both. Fossil or Citizen for? No, I've never owned a Fossil. Although, believe it or not, a good friend of mine, she and I went to high school together. She actually works for the Fossil Group. She's one of their head accountants. But I've never owned a Fossil. I don't particularly. I don't have anything against Fossil. I just haven't seen one that I liked. And I did own a Citizen once. I had a Nighthawk Blue Angels, one of the multiple Blue Angels versions, and I did a video on it. It's still up on my page, still up on my YouTube channel. I had it for a while. I really enjoyed the watch, but somebody made me an offer to buy it, and I said, "Well, you're not wearing it that much," so I sold it and used the money to fund what eventually that money went towards the Breitling Navitimer Dual 60, Twin 60 that I have now. So that sale of that watch helped fund my Griddle watch. You want Dirk's titanium hammerhead? I just sold that to him, John. I really don't think he's going to let it go for a while. But I liked that watch. At the time I had 5 hammerheads, and that one was getting the least amount of wrist time. I had 2 titaniums. I didn't need 2 titaniums, so I sold that to him. I sent it to Rob to sell, and Dirk fell in love with the thing, and we came to an arrangement so that it didn't hurt so much when he bought it. And he's very happy with it. Do I like 3 stars? I don't get the question. How you like? Let's see. Brad, I recommend the Blue Angel. I think it's a hell of a watch. It's a very busy dial. I like busy dials, so a lot of people won't like that, but if you like busy dials, that's a great watch. John says he has a Fossil. He has a VW symbol on it. It's the only reason he got it. I understand. I'll look at Fossils every once in a while, but none of them, make me say I got to have that. Grimwood has a Nighthawk. See, so you know what I'm talking about, Grimwood. The Nighthawks are a fantastic watch. So K9's going to have the Tour Zelos. Well, I know it's heading to another part of Florida right now. In fact, it's already there. I don't know where you are on the rotation, but I'm sure it'll be heading your way pretty soon, K9. Gator Haters here. I used to call Gator Hater Null Nation my personal troll, because he sort of discovered me through the Uncle Lou channel, and he was merciless in the beginning. He was just letting me have it all the time. It was great fun, but we've become, I think, pretty good compadres, and he's a good guy. And sorry he has to root for the Seminoles, but to each his own. He thinks I'm nuts for being a Gator. So, but Gator Hater's a good guy. we talk all the time on the Lou channel. So good to see you in my group, sir. How you doing today? Let's see. Canine Cardio says he has a ProMaster Vintage Citizen bullheads. I had a bullhead watch once. It was oh God, what was it? It was a Brazil only market watch. It was titanium, and the name of the brand escapes me. But man, that watch just drove me crazy. It was huge. I think the video is still up on my channel. But winding that thing was not a winding, it was a quartz watch, but adjusting it was a pain, and it was just too damn big. I like big watches, but for some reason this watch never wore right on my wrist, so I sold it off over a year ago. Got my money back for it. I wasn't looking to make a profit. I expected to take a loss, but I actually made my money back on that one. Let's see. Oh, okay. I get it now. Okay, how you like? I get it now. Yeah, I like the Citizen watches. I just don't have any right now. I've got too many watches at the moment. I really need to slow my roll just a little bit. Maybe sell one or two. I haven't decided that yet. But there are some Zeloses coming up that I'm going to buy. That's a given. I mean, Mr. Zelos, I have to have them. But there's nothing else coming right now. I have decided on my next Grail watch, the next one that I'm going to target. It's an Omega Speedy. It's one of the from the moon to Mars watches. It has the 3 subdials on the Speedmaster face, and each subdial is an image of, well, one's planet Earth, one's the moon. I'm sorry, planet Earth, moon, and Mars as the subdial registers for the chronograph. And that to me looks fantastic. I'm going to have one of those. I just have to come up with about $7,000. That's all. Easy. $7,000. I can find that on my couch. Yeah, right. Thoughts on the Navitimer 806 re-edition? I haven't seen one yet, but the fact that I already own a Navitimer and it was a Grail watch, and it took me a while to save up for one and then find one I liked, and I targeted a Navitimer specifically as a Grail watch, kind of gives you an idea that I'm going to like a Navitimer. I haven't seen the 806 picture of one yet, so I haven't got a specific opinion on that one, but I have never seen, pardon me, I have never seen a Navitimer that I didn't like. So do with that what you will. Let's see. Gator Nation says nothing but I'm sorry, Gator Hater says nothing but love. I'm doing well, Gator Hater. I'm looking forward to tonight's chat on the YouTube, on the Uncle Lou channel. I'll be there. I'm sure you'll be there. Brad wants me to tell my favorite story about you, me and my dad. Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, my dad and I do share a passion for watches. He was the one that got me restarted on watches. I like I said, I bought this watch back in 2006, but I didn't stay with the collecting thing. But he got me back into it. Basically, he got me back into it by giving me that Rolex GMT Master that you see on my channel, the black with the black dial and the Coke bezel. It's over there on a liner, right? In fact, I'll be wearing that tonight, actually. He had that watch for quite a while. In fact, he had a few watches by then. I think maybe 10. And I was kind of fascinated by them, but I was my mind was elsewhere for a lot of the mid 2000s through about the early 2010s. I had my mind on other things. I wasn't quite in the place I am now. But right around 2000, I don't even know when. I'm not going to speculate. It's not important. He gave me that watch when it failed on him, and he went ahead and it was a Pepsi bezel. It had a Pepsi bezel, and he went ahead and he bought another one to replace it. And he handed that watch to me, and he said, "I know you've liked this watch for a while. It doesn't work anymore. If you can get it running again somehow, you can go ahead and keep the watch." And I couldn't get it running. I don't have the expertise to do that, but I did turn it into a watchmaker place that we've been using for a while, and they got it back to me in about 3 weeks. It was completely refurbed. They put on a genuine Rolex crystal because someone at some point had put on a non-Rolex crystal before it got to my father. It was cleaned up. It was lightly polished, and they put the Coke bezel that I wanted on the watch. So, and then sealed it all up and tested it. So, I figured if I'm going to own a Rolex, I better learn something about what these are and things of that nature. And I've always been someone who likes mechanical things. I mean, I am a car nut first and foremost. And watches and cars go together because they're both mechanical beings, if you will. They're both mechanical devices. And the more I learned about watches and the different terminology, and I taught myself how to do a few things like change bezels, change straps, size bracelets. I can size pin bracelets, screw bracelets, pin and collar. Whoever invented pin and collar, I hate you. I hope you rot in hell. But that's just me. And as I learned more and got more, and I made plenty of mistakes too, buying watches. I mean, I am first to admit that I was one of those people that bought into the hype of Filippo Loretti over on the Kickstarter side of the world. And I bought quite a few Filippo Lorettis and soon realized my mistake, and I sold them all off fairly quickly. But I learned a lot from being stupid. Yeah. You learn more from your mistakes and your failures than from your successes. And I learned a lot by being dumb and buying those watches and losing money. But they're all gone now and they can't hurt me anymore. And they're one of the reasons that until very recently, I haven't supported any Kickstarter micro brands. Until recently, I supported my first 2 micro brands on Kickstarter for a long time. One didn't make it and one already has. But that's how I got restarted in the watch genre, the watch collecting. And my dad and I, as I became smarter and we began to be able to talk in common about watch collecting, between the two of us, we built 2 really good watch collections. And I've helped him pick watches and research watches and learn about watches, and he's helped me. And it's something that my father and I have been able to bond on. He's my father, and I love him, and I know he loves me. But quite honestly, we don't have a lot in our lives that overlap. I mean, he has his life, I have my life. But this is something, one of about half dozen things that overlap very strongly. And this is something that we can work together on and research together on and have fun with together. And it's brought my father and I even closer together. And I'll always be grateful for the watch hobby for what it's done for me and for him. So that's that story, Brad. I hope that was good enough. Let's see. Grimwood is saying, no such thing as too many watches. If you saw my watch collection, you would know immediately that I agree with you. So, well, if you watched my 3 State of the Collection videos that I did this month, you know my watch collection is fairly good size. And a Horizon GMT2, I'm going to look at that, but I know there's another one coming behind it that is a little bit bigger, and I think I'm going to target that one instead of the Horizon GMT version 2. Gator Hater wants to know if I'm going to do a video of watches I'm wanting to sell. No, I'm not. When I decide to sell a watch, I don't make a video of it and put it on my channel. I just put it up for sale. Lately, I've been using Random Robs to help me sell watches. You know, it may not be a bad idea if I do come up with a watch that I want to sell. I could make a quick video saying, hey, here's the link to the watch when I unboxed it and reviewed it to take a look at it. I'm selling it now. Here's a quick overview. Here is any potential problems or anything. That's not a bad idea, Gator Hater. Thank you for that. I think I might use that if I do decide to put another watch up for sale. Bobby, now we're talking about Cosmonaut. I like the Cosmonaut. I almost bought one instead of the twin 60 or the dual 60. I can't remember. Jesus, I think it's twin 60. The problem I have with the Cosmonaut is, if you remember, that one is a 24-hour dial, so the hands only go around once a day instead of twice a day, and I heard too many people saying that confused them in the short term. I'm not sure what they thought about in the long term, but there were 2 or 3 people that said they really confused them when trying to read the time, and that sort of spooked me a little bit. The other problem was I couldn't find a Cosmonaut that was in good shape before I found that Twin 60, which was in better shape than any of the Cosmonauts. So that's why I didn't get the Cosmonaut initially. Not to say I wouldn't do it in the future, but right now I'm very happy with the Twin 60. Ballard's here. How you doing, Ballard? I'm sorry, I was answering some questions. I didn't see you. Can I ask what got you into watches? Oh, that's easy. I was just talking about that. It's my father. Well, the initial was that those books by the recently deceased Clive Cussler, and his main character wearing one of these Doxa professionals, and learning about what that was and deciding that I had to have one. But that was back in 2006, and then I didn't follow through with it. And then my dad got me into collecting watches again about, I'd say about 4 years ago. So my dad is definitely the biggest influence. And I'll tell you, another big influencer is another friend of mine. It was a big influencer. Was a friend of mine. His name is Devor. I'm going to butcher this last name. Ribic. You can find him on YouTube under Dabo, D-A-B-O, but on Facebook he goes by Devor, D-A-V-O-R. He is my favorite Croatian in the world. And his collection for a time influenced my collecting. As a matter of fact, he bought a Zelos bronze hammerhead and then immediately bought a steel hammerhead back to back. And I was so fascinated with those watches in his videos that I bought the exact same watches. And Devor, your fault. The Zelos rabbit hole that I've fallen down and will never be able to get out of is your fault, sir, and I thank you for it. But between my dad and Devor and a couple of other people on Facebook here and there, but mostly my dad got me into watches again. Let's see. Bartholomew, I've never heard of that watch, but I'm going to look it up. Anything with the name Eleanor makes me think Mustang, so I got to look that up. Wrong watch time? Hey, I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad you're supporting my channel. and I've watched a couple of your videos. This Wrong Time Watch is a relatively new channel from subscription level. He's doing some good videos. I definitely suggest that any watch guy here definitely should go click on Wrong Time and take a look at his stuff and sub him up, because he's doing some good stuff, and he is a supporter, and he's asked some really good questions and made some good comments on my channel, and I appreciate that. Gator hater, no, I'm not taking calls. I don't have that ability yet. My channel is not quite that sophisticated yet. I'll work on it. Maybe I'll talk to Uncle Lou and get some suggestions on how I can do that on the cheap, if you will. Let's see. Yeah, John. Screwing up in the watch hobby is a great way to learn. I'll tell you another screw up on the watch hobby train was my dalliance with smartwatches. Dumb. Smartwatches are shit. I'm sorry. I shouldn't curse on my name. You know what? If you have one of these, you don't need a smartwatch. All a smartwatch is, until the more recent generations where they're somewhat autonomous with their own cell service capability. I have an iPhone. I love my iPhone. I'm on it constantly. I don't need one strapped to my wrist. It was pointless. I bought 4 or 5 of the bloody things just to be able to switch them out every once in a while in different styles. And eventually it dawned on me, I wasn't using them as smartwatches. I was using them as a watch, and if the phone disconnected from them, they were no good except for the watch part, and I wasn't using them as smartwatch, and it was pointless. And the other thing is, I did a video on this, and I'll reiterate what I said. Smartwatches have no soul. They're cold. They're cold. They don't have warmth. They don't have light. I know these things aren't alive, but these things have motion. I mean, the second hand, the minute hands, the complications of moving, the ticking, the need to maintain them. I have winders, but I still have some watches that I have to wind because, frankly, I have a few that are too heavy for a winder. Watches have to be maintained. They have to be touched. They have to be played with. They have to be loved in a way. Smartwatches just are. They just sit there. They're cold. They're featureless. They're an appliance, and I don't need that. I have my iPhone. I don't need an appliance on my wrist. I need something on my wrist that makes me feel good about it being there, not something that just sits there like a lump. And if I'm lucky and turn my wrist the right way, it lights up. So I got rid of my alleged smartwatches long ago, and I don't miss them. And I will never have another one. I don't. They're soulless. And by the way, they're obsolete in a year. I mean, go find one of those geniuses that bought one of those Apple Watch editions made out of 18 karat or whatever it was, gold, and find out how functional that piece of crap is now. You pay $10,000 or $17,000 for one of those, and it's obsolete, and you can't upgrade it, and now you have a shiny bauble. Good job, moron. I hope you can sell it for like $100 if you're lucky. What else we got here? Let's see. Steve says he got a Raketa from the 70s via Instagram. Yeah, I like vintage. Well, good luck on the watch hiatus thing. I can name for you a half dozen people I know and been talking daily to that claim to be on watch hiatuses for 2020, and they've broken that rule within weeks of the turn of the calendar. But if you can do it, God bless you. But yeah, I love vintage. I have quite a few, as you probably saw in my State of the Collection videos. My 2 Bulova Accutrons. I have a whole bunch of vintage Seikos. The vintage watches really have something, a certain something about them that just make them really interesting. Not that modern watches aren't interesting, but some of these vintage watches just they did things back in the 60s and the 70s and even the 80s that they just don't do now, that I find interesting. Grimwood said he's watched all 3 of my videos and wants a few from my collection. I'm not selling any right now, but I'll tell you what, I'm gonna, maybe Gator Hater's onto something, and maybe when I go ahead and decide to sell a watch or two, maybe I'll put it up on video, see if I can draw any interest that way. Otherwise, I'll probably just do what I've done the last half dozen or so, or even more, probably a dozen times I've wanted to sell a watch, and that's basically ship it up to Random Rob and say, would you do this for me? And he always has, and everyone I've sent up there has sold, and everyone I sent to him sold for the price I wanted. So again, grateful for Random Rob for not only helping me sell the watches, but also grateful for the help in growing my channel. It was a mention from Random Rob that finally kicked my channel over 1,000 subscribers and got me monetized. And now, and some nice things are going to be happening to my channel because I broke the 1,000 sub level, and some people started to take notice of my little channel and what I do and how I do it. And I've gotten some great compliments, but also some things can happen to my channel that hopefully will get it to grow even more. And maybe I'll get good at this. Maybe I'll get to the point where I start investing in equipment. Like Gator Hater said, can I take calls? No, I'd love to take some calls, but I don't have the ability. Maybe if I can grow the channel enough, I'll have that ability. Well, let's see. Oh God, I've been babbling on for 52 minutes. Aren't you guys sick of me yet? Say you're sick of me. No. Anything else you guys got? Anything else you want to know? Anything else you want to talk about, or I'm going to wrap it up because, well, oh no, I don't have to go anywhere until 5. Is there anybody left in there? No. Well, I did get one super chat out of this. That wasn't my intention, but I did get a super chat from Solid Snake. It was my first ever super chat. I've never had one before. I've done some live streams before. I never was able to do super chats because I wasn't big enough, but I got my first one today, so that's pretty cool. I'll probably just turn around and give it to Uncle Lou later tonight, so whatever. That's still a nice compliment. Well, if nobody else has anything to ask or suggest or comment about, I'm going to wrap her up. I'll do my normal wrap-up spiel, which is if you liked what I did today and you'd like to see some more, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. Thumbs ups evidently help people seek out the channel when they're doing searches and things like that, and makes my channel more friendly to the YouTube algorithms. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions after we wrap it up, you can click down below and comment or whatever. I read them all. I respond to them all. But I do delete the nasty stuff. And I block the nasty poster because, I'm not about that. I just don't want to deal with that crap. I got enough of that crap in my life. If you're not already a subscriber, please, and you stumbled in here by accident or however you got here, click the subscribe button and click the bell icon next to it so that if I post or when I post new content, you're alerted to that. Again, I thank all my participants, all my subs on the channel. I thank all the participants. There's too many to name here. How You Like, Loom Room, Gator Hater, Brad, Grimwood. Love your channel, by the way. Really do. Ballard Sports Media, Bartholomew, Wrong Time Watch, John, and Uncle Lou was in here earlier, and Random Rob was in here earlier. Steven, definitely appreciate you stopping by here. One of my earlier supporters. I thank everybody that stopped by. I like doing these live chats. I think I'll try and do more of them. They seem to be a lot of fun, at least while people are participating. So, thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in my next video. Peace.